Hello, welcome to Jason the Old Millennial. My name is Jason, speaking to here in my basement in the great state of Kansas, doing another 5-minute review where I review something that I own for 5 minutes or less. And today I am going to review the album Electric Arguments by the Fireman, which is actually Paul McCartney and someone named Youth. That's two guys basically putting this album together. Paul McCartney does all the singing, the playing of the music. I mean, that's what's so incredible about Paul McCartney, is that you don't need a band sometimes. He can do like every single instrument, plus do all the singing, all that, you know. So that's kind of what it is. This is not as well known, probably. Like I said, it's not a Paul McCartney album, technically. It's the Fireman. This is actually the third album that they have done together. It's really the only commercial album that they've done. I didn't write down what time this came out. I think it came out like 2008, I believe. I actually heard this album, or heard about this first time when Paul McCartney was on David Letterman, and he was talking about this album, and they sang one of the songs called "Sing the Changes" on top of this top of the roof of Ed Sullivan Theater. And I remember hearing that and like, oh, that's a pretty cool pop song. That's pretty good. And I was a little confused of why they're called the Fireman. It's not just a Paul McCartney album. But, well, this, him and this guy Youth, they actually got together when they were making Off the Ground, album Paul McCartney did back in '93. And he was looking for someone to mix the album, whatever. And so he was recommended this guy named Youth, which I'm guessing is like a stage name or something. So he came in and helped mix the album, and Paul McCartney worked well with him, I guess. And so he said, so they kind of come with the idea of doing a side project in which they did their first album, which had like songs, I think, from Off the Ground, but it's all instrumental. And it was kind of put out like anonymously, but then people figured out that was Paul McCartney in there. And then they did a second album, again, in I think late '90s. And again, they were just really instrumental, experimental albums, no singing at all, and a lot of electronic, you know, music and stuff like that. Just, like I said, it's just a side project for him. But then you decide for the third album, let's actually have some singing in it. It sounds somewhat more of a Paul McCartney style album, though this album still has a lot of instrumental, experimental music as well. So it's a bit of a mix album for me. Actually was given this album by a friend named Rob from Rob Secure Music. He's a great YouTube channel. He's from New York, and he's been sending me CDs every once in a while if he has two of the same kind. He's very kind giving this to me. And I actually quite enjoyed getting this and adding it to my Paul McCartney collection, because I'm trying to get all my Paul McCartney albums. And the first time I heard it, I actually really loved the album. I was like, wow, this is really good. There's some really good pop rock stuff in here. The last like 3 songs or 4 songs, you want to say, are all experimental, instrumental stuff, which I wasn't a fan of. But most of the other stuff I thought was pretty darn good. I actually listened to it again the other day, and we did a review of this on my friend's Nick Townsend 505 channel. Me, Nick, and Adam from What the Gym just reviewed this album, and we all kind of mixed on it. But to say, there is some really good stuff here. I think Sing the Changes is a great pop rock song. If there's one song to check out from this album, Sing the Changes, as an amazing song. But I also thought Dance Till We're High was a really good pop rock song as well. Another real catchy song, some good string instruments. There's like these bell ringings in it. That's really cool. But there's some good stuff, like Traveling Light is a decent, Highway's a good rock song from here. Sun is Shining's a good pop song on here. Lifelong Passion, another really good pop song. Those are the highlights. I'd say there's like 6 pretty darn good songs on here. There's some songs that he kind of does some different things with his voices. He does like a lower registry on some songs, which I'm not as a big fan of. And like the first song is very like almost like a heavy metal song, and it's really kind of jarring when you first hear that first song. Nothing Too Much, Just Out of Sight, and going, wow, this is heavy. Not as a fan of some of that stuff, and there's some songs that are a little boring, a little slow moving, like Light from Your Lighthouse, Is This Love, a little slow moving for me, but overall, I'm giving this an 8 out of 10. I think it's still got some solid music in it. Worth checking out, I think, if you're a fan of Paul McCartney.